The sun rises in the morning, spilling across the courthouse windows to catch every dust particle that skips in the air. Cameras snap like rifles as Kody Brown emerges from his black SUV, his jaw set, face crinkled in determination. He was the symbol of plural love, the man who had promised equilibrium and justice among 4 wives, for years. But today, he approaches a courtroom that is chillier than any home he ever constructed. Within, Christine Brown sits silently at her attorney's desk. Hands are folded, fingers shaking, but her gaze is firm. She wears gentle colors, a sign of peace, or perhaps of defiance. The murmurs in the courtroom move about her name like a cloud. That's Christine. She's the one who left him. She's suing him now, isn't she? For emotional harm, I believe. Christine refuses to look up. She has endured worse: the quiet dinners, the empty promises, the feeling of invisibility. Today, she is here to give her words, not as a sister wife, but as a woman who has regained her dignity. Across the aisle, Kody's attorney, suit with tie and snooty expression, cinches his tie tighter and leans in. "Keep in mind we're writing the story here," he whispers. Kody nods, but his eyes give something away: fear, perhaps. Or pride beginning to crack. The bailiff rings the court to order. The judge, a composed woman in her 60s, appears and looks around the room. "This case is Brown versus Brown," she declares. Christine Brown versus Kody Brown, regarding charges of emotional distress, financial misdeeds, and breaking marital trust. Christine's lawyer, a woman named Dana, rises. Her tone is gentle, but strong. "Your Honor, this case is not about revenge. It's about accountability. My client spent decades in a relationship where she was promised love and equality, but what she received was control, isolation, and neglect. She seeks not vengeance, but recognition for what she endured and what she lost." The words ring out. Christine's mouth compresses as images flash: the rows in back rooms, the nights she wept by herself while Kody laughed in another room with Robyn. She squints fiercely, pushing her way back into the moment. "Every truth starts with bravery," Dana goes on, looking at Christine. "And Christine Brown has taken bravery." Kody's attorney, Richard, rises. His tone is dripping with condescension. "Your Honor, my client has been vilified in the public eye, played like a pawn in a media circus. Mrs. Brown's claims are hyperbolic, and quite frankly, this case is a money grab for heartbreak." "This isn't a court, it's a theater," the courtroom whispers. Kody's confidence returns, his chest expanding with self-satisfied pride. But when Christine raises her eyes to clash with his, something cracks. He glances away. Dana approaches with the first exhibit, a budget summary. "Mr. Brown," she says, "during your marriage to my client, you handled all household finances, correct?" Kody nods rigidly. "That's right. And did you, at any point, allow Christine to access or review the family accounts?" He hesitates. "We discussed finances as a family." Christine's soft laugh breaks the silence, not mocking, just pained. "Discussed?" She whispers. "You decided everything." The judge glances up. "Mrs. Brown, please refrain," Dana interjects. "It's fine, Your Honor." My client's reaction reflects the emotional truth of this situation. Richard stands up once more. "Your Honor, we take exception to this melodrama. My client was dealing with a big, complicated family. Decisions had to be made. It wasn't a matter of control, it was a matter of practicality." The judge nods incrementally. "We'll let the evidence speak for itself." The mood in the room changes. The affable politeness begins to slough away. The tension is now raw. The first witness, Janelle, takes the stand. She approaches the stand, her face guarded. Janelle is always the quiet mediator, but today she seems conflicted. "Janelle," Dana speaks softly, "you cohabited with Christine and Kody during this time. Can you tell us what their relationship was like?" Janelle pauses. "Originally, it was all right. But once Robyn joined the family, things altered." Christine. She didn't smile as much anymore. Kody ceased to visit her home nights as regularly. She'd stay up for him, but he'd tell her he was tired, or Robyn required him. Christine looks down. The words strike hard even today. And did you see any emotional outbursts or ill treatment? Dana asks. Janelle inhales. Yes. Christine would get confrontational with Kody. And he'd say such things as, "You're lucky I even bother anymore." He made her feel belittled, like she was the issue. Kody flushes. That's not true, he exclaims. I was trying to maintain peace within the family. The judge's gavel comes down. Mr. Brown, you'll have your say. The crowd whispers again, journalists writing furiously. The atmosphere within the room is one of electric tension, instability. Dana looks to Christine. Would you like to say something? Christine nods. Her voice is even, but her hands shake when she stands. For years, I thought suffering was love. That being patient meant being faithful. But patience does not mend cruelty. I tried to be the wife he required. And he never looked at me, really looked at me. I was just part of his agenda. Her voice breaks. When I left, he said I'd regret it. He said I'd never make it without him. But just look at me. I'm surviving, and I'm finished being quiet. The room is utterly silent. Not even Kody stirs. Richard gets up again, smiling wryly. Mrs. Brown, isn't it the fact that your so-called emotional pain started only after you made up your mind to leave and knew your life would be altered? That this is not about pain but about money. Christine stands up, her voice cutting. You think this is about money? Then you don't know what it costs to be invisible. There's a collective gasp. Even Robyn, sitting in the back row, looks shaken. The judge clears her throat. That's enough for today. We'll reconvene tomorrow for cross-examination. As the gavel strikes, the room exhales, tension breaking like glass. Christine gathers her papers slowly, ignoring the flashes of cameras outside the courtroom doors. Kody lingers, whispering something to Richard before turning to leave, but as he approaches the door, he glances over his shoulder. Christine's eyes lock onto his for the final time. No tears. No anger. No heat. Only finality. He leans in close to his attorney, his voice low but steely. If she's looking for war, he grunts, she'll get it. The words linger in the air like smoke, thick, volatile, and threatening the mayhem to come. The following morning, the courthouse is abuzz hours before the hearing begins. Journalists sit on the steps, microphones at the ready, voices merging into a buzz of expectation. Headlines already blaze across social media. Christine confronts Kody in emotional courtroom standoff. What no one is aware of, however, is that today's session will reveal more than emotions. It will dig up the secrets hidden under the Brown family's immaculate veneer, within the courtroom. Christine sits at her table, attorney Dana going over papers quietly. The atmosphere is different, darker, more acute. Christine scans around, getting a glimpse of the people in the gallery. Some known, some unknown. Her heart racing as she sees Robyn in row 2, her eyes red but aware. Kody arrives a moment later, dressed in a dark suit that looks more formal than he typically wears. He does not glance at Christine today. He gazes ahead, setting his jaw, face inscrutable. The judge arrives, the gavel clangs, and tension slices across the room like a knife. Court is back in session. The judge declares. Mrs. Brown, continue your testimony. Christine stands slowly. The courtroom lights feel hotter today, pressing down on her shoulders. When I married Kody, she begins, voice steady but low, I believed in partnership. We shared our dreams, our children, and our lives. But somewhere along the way, he stopped seeing me as a partner and started treating me like a burden. Dana nods encouragingly. Can you explain what you mean by that? Christine takes a breath, her eyes relaxing. He would make choices without informing me, financial choices, family choices. There were times when I didn't even know what our income was or where it went. He'd say don't worry. That he was taking care of things. But it wasn't care. It was control. Kody's attorney, Richard, quickly stands. Objection, Your Honor, this is emotional speculation. The judge looks up. Overruled. Proceed, Mrs. Brown. Christine nods. It wasn't until after I left that I knew about the secret accounts. Money that was intended for all of us spent, transferred, gone. And I was left with nothing but confusion. She sits back down. The room is still, but the tension is building, like a storm waiting to break. Dana steps forward, holding a stack of papers. Your Honor, we'd like to submit into evidence these financial statements obtained through subpoena. They show multiple transfers from shared family accounts into a private LLC owned by Mr. Brown. Richard springs to his feet. That's taken out of context. Those were funds applied to proper business, then show us the records. Dana cuts in smoothly. The judge inclines his head. Objection overruled. Proceed. Christine's eyes follow the clerk as he takes the papers to the judge's bench. Her stomach is in knots. Something is coming, she knows it. Dana riffles through a page and places a copy of a signed authorization. This, she says, is a withdrawal authorization signed by Christine Brown, or at least, someone purporting to be her. Christine's brow furrows. What? I never signed this. Dana looks at her. You're sure? Affirmative. Her speech is shaking, but the determination is clear. That is not my signature. The judge reads over the document, her face serious. Mrs. Brown, are you saying that this signature was falsified? Christine swallows hard. Yes. I'm saying exactly that. The court gasps, a murmur of whispers breaking out like thunder. Kody's face pinches, his attorney whispering frantically to him. The judge raps the gavel for silence. Order. If this document is forged, we will look into it. Christine's mind spins. If that document is legitimate, somebody's lying. And if it's a forgery, somebody wanted her silence purchased. Robyn squirms in her seat, fidgeting with her hands on her lap. Christine sees it but remains silent. The silence between them is louder than anything they could say. Dana goes on in a smooth tone, Your Honor, we also have phone records of calls between Mr. Brown and a financial advisor days prior to this transfer. We ask to be able to introduce these also. Richard lets out a groan. This is a smear campaign. Then disprove it wrong, Dana responds, her voice cold. The judge lets in the evidence. Dana casts the messages on the screen, timestamps, quick responses, transaction confirmations. Christine gazes at them, every line a body blow to the stomach. Kody finally speaks, his voice gruff. I didn't fake anything. Those were normal transfers. I dealt with money for everyone. Christine didn't want to handle that stuff, she trusted me. Christine's head jerks up. Christine's eyes follow the clerk as he takes the papers to the judge's bench. Her stomach is in knots. Something is coming, she knows it. Dana riffles through a page and places a copy of a signed authorization. This, she says, is a withdrawal authorization signed by Christine Brown, or at least, someone purporting to be her. Christine's brow furrows. What? I never signed this. Dana looks at her. You're sure? Affirmative. Her speech is shaking, but the determination is clear. That is not my signature. The judge reads over the document, her face serious. Mrs. Brown, are you saying that this signature was falsified? Christine swallows hard. Yes. I'm saying exactly that. The court gasps, a murmur of whispers breaking out like thunder. Kody's face pinches, his attorney whispering frantically to him. The judge raps the gavel for silence. Order. If this document is forged, we will look into it. Christine's mind spins. If that document is legitimate, somebody's lying. And if it's a forgery, somebody wanted her silence purchased. Robyn squirms in her seat, fidgeting with her hands on her lap. Christine sees it but remains silent. The silence between them is louder than anything they could say. Dana goes on in a smooth tone, Your Honor, We also have phone records of calls between Mr. Brown and a financial advisor days prior to this transfer. We ask to be able to introduce these also." Richard lets out a groan. "This is a smear campaign, then disprove it wrong," Dana responds, her voice cold. The judge lets in the evidence. Dana casts the messages on the screen, timestamps, quick responses, transaction confirmations. Christine gazes at them, every line a body blow to the stomach. Kody finally speaks, his voice gruff. "I didn't fake anything. Those were normal transfers. I dealt with money for everyone. Christine didn't want to handle that stuff, she trusted me." Christine's head jerks up. "I trusted you because you made me feel like I had no choice." The judge's gavel cracks once more. "Both of you will be civil." Kody's calm crumbles. "She's distorting things, Your Honor. She left our family, left our values. Now she wants to ruin what's left of them." Christine doesn't blink. "You ruined it the day you stopped being truthful." A strained quiet hung in the courtroom. The air hung heavy with all that hadn't been said, the betrayal, the loss, all the years of silence finally giving way to noise. Dana clears her throat. "Mrs. Brown, how did you feel when you learned about these transactions?" Christine breathes slowly. "I felt stupid. Like I'd spent my whole life protecting a man who treated me like I was nothing. But most of all, I felt free, because for the first time, I didn't have to keep pretending." The judge scribbles notes, her forehead creased. She looks at Kody. "Mr. Brown, do you have evidence these documents were properly authorized?" Richard moves in quickly. "Your Honor, we'll have verification tomorrow. We think there's been a misunderstanding." The judge nods. "Fine. But let me make this clear, if forged documents were produced, this court will refer the case to criminal review." Kody's air of confidence wavers. He nods, stiffly, but his hands tremble slightly under the table. Dana withdraws. No further questions at this time. The judge calls for a brief recess. The courtroom hums once more, everyone talking at once about the forged papers, the stolen money, and what it could do to Kody's case. Christine exits the courtroom into the hallway, her attorney by her side. The air is chilly, almost metallic. "You handled yourself well," Dana says quietly. "This is going to get worse before it gets better." Christine nods. "Already has." Behind him, Kody comes out of the courtroom, looking black. He sees Robyn, who attempts to say something, but he is abrupt. "Not now," he growls. "They're distorting everything." Robyn hesitates, wide eyes filled with concern. "Kody. Perhaps it's time to tell the truth." "Everything." He freezes in his steps, slowly turning his face toward her. "Be careful, Robyn," he cautions. "You don't want to turn things worse." Her lips open, but she doesn't respond. The space between them becomes huge, larger than it has ever been. Christine observes them from the other side of the hall, her heart full. She doesn't know what Robyn knows, not yet, but something in her face lets her know that the largest truth has yet to emerge. Not by a long shot. As the judge's voice brings the court back to session, Christine strides back in, her feet taking each step more slowly, more consciously. The nation watches her now, and she is aware of it. But more than that, so is Kody. When she sits down, she won't look at him. She doesn't need to. He's already coming apart, and in that still moment before the gavel rings out again, the truth is nearer than ever before, volatile, uncontrollable, and waiting to burst. The tension within the courtroom is palpable, so thick that even the air feels hard to breathe. Each whisper freezes the instant the judge reappears on the bench. The bailiff bellows, "Court is now in session." The cameras located in the rear of the room are silent snaps. Everyone recognizes this as the moment they've been expecting. Kody sits stiff in the defense table, his attorney Richard whispering in his ear. Christine, on the other side of the aisle, attempts not to glance at him. Her hands are clasped tightly in her lap, her heart pounding. Dana leans in close to her and whispers, "This next witness might turn everything around." Christine nods once. She knows already whom is going to come in. The double doors swing open, and the courtroom takes a collective breath. Robyn Brown enters, her face delicate but resolute. She is dressed in a plain navy blue dress, hair back, face white. She moves slowly toward the witness stand, her heels clicking softly against the gleaming floor. The sound reverberates like a clock ticking towards the inevitable. The judge lifts her head from her notes. Mrs. Robyn Brown, take the stand. Robyn sits, hands clasped. When she's sworn in, her voice trembles slightly as she says, I do. Kody avoids looking at her. For the first time since the trial began, he seems unsettled. Dana steps forward. Mrs. Brown, you've been a close part of the Brown family for many years, correct? Yes, Robyn answers quietly. Since 2010. You've witnessed the relationships between Mr. Brown and his wives during that time? I have. Dana nods. I'd like to ask you a few questions about that dynamic, specifically about the years leading up to the time that Christine left the marriage. Robyn shifts, looking over at Kody, who gives her a scowl. For an instant, she pauses. The judge sees it. Mrs. Brown, she says softly, you have to tell the truth. You are sworn in. Robyn nods. Yes, Your Honor, Dana goes on. Did you ever see Mr. Brown treating Christine in a manner that might be characterized as emotionally controlling? There is a long silence. Robyn's hands knot together. Yes, she says at last. Christine blinks away tears and looks down. Can you tell me more? Dana coaxes gently. Robyn inhales slowly. There were moments where Christine desired more autonomy. She'd speak of having her own money, her own voice in things. And Kody, he'd silence her. He'd say that obedience was faith. That questioning him was questioning God. A collective gasp runs around the room. Kody slaps a hand down on the table. That's not how it is. I never. The judge interrupts him brusquely. Mr. Brown, keep yourself in check. He glares at Robyn, his voice low and menacing. What do you think you're doing? Robyn's voice shakes. Telling the truth. Dana nods, her tone even but firm. Mrs. Brown, was there a particular incident that comes to mind? Robyn slowly shakes her head. There was one night. Christine had discovered about a real estate purchase, something done through a family LLC. She was upset, demanded to know why she hadn't been informed. Kody became enraged, really enraged. He told her that she wasn't a legal wife and therefore her input didn't count. The words dangle in the air like venom. Christine's breaths catch. She recalls that evening, recalls sobbing in the kitchen, recalls Janelle attempting to calm her as Robyn remained immobile in the doorway. Dana's voice tenses ever so slightly. And what exactly did you do, Mrs. Brown? Robyn glances down. Nothing. I didn't know what to do. I figured if I said something, it would make it worse. The courtroom is silent as a tomb. Even the journalists have ceased typing. Kody's attorney jumps to his feet. Your Honor, I object. This is subjective personal opinion, not factual witness statement. The judge deliberates for a moment. Overruled. The witness's view is pertinent to character and conduct. Richard returns to his seat, visibly fuming. Dana approaches once more, speaking softly. Mrs. Brown, in your view, was Christine treated equally within the family? Robyn pauses again. No. She was alone. Every time she would try to set boundaries, it created tension. Eventually, she gave up. Christine blinks hard, and a tear falls down her cheek. Dana looks at the jury. No further questions. Richard stands at once. Mrs. Brown, let's be specific. You were friendly with both Christine and Kody, weren't you? Robyn nods. Yes. And it's safe to say Christine frequently displayed jealousy or resentment toward you. Robyn's eyes flashed toward him. She was hurt. That's not jealousy, but she frequently accused Kody of favoritism, right? Yes, but no more comments necessary. Richard cuts in, probing. Mrs. Brown, did you ever witness Kody physically harming or threatening anyone in that family? Robyn shakes her head. No, so all these accusations, are about feelings. Feelings. Misunderstandings. Perhaps Robyn's voice becomes hard, shocking all of them. No. It's about manipulation. That's worse than violence sometimes. The courtroom gasps once more. Richard appears shaken. At a loss for words for the moment. Kody advances, his face flushed. Robyn, he hisses, stop it. Robyn finally meets his gaze, her eyes shining. You asked me to speak the truth. Now you have it, the judge interrupts. Mrs. Brown, you may step down. Robyn shakes her head and exits the stand, passing by Kody without acknowledging him. Christine watches her go, not with hostility, but with subdued acknowledgement. Dana breathes, that testimony just opened a door we can't close. Christine responds in a whisper, then let's walk through it. A recess is called, and the courtroom erupts into gossiping. The press scurries out to report the moment. Robyn Brown turns on Kody in shocking court admission. In the hallway, Robyn stands against the wall, gasping for air. A reporter attempts to talk, but she shakes her head. No comment, she breathes, before rushing toward the door. Behind her, Kody bursts out of the courtroom, his rage apparent. You think you can shame me, he bellows, his voice ringing through the marble hallway. Christine faces him, icy calm. You shamed yourself, Kody. All we did was speak the truth. He edges nearer, his tone menacing. You think you've gained something here? You haven't. You'll regret this. Christine holds his gaze, unwavering. I already regret having stayed as long as I did. Kody exits, arguing with his attorney. Cameras record each second, flashes exploding like lightning. Within the courtroom, Dana collects her files. That evidence makes all the difference, she states. We can file coercive control as a part of the claim of emotional abuse. Christine nods slowly, taking it in. It's odd, she whispers. I always imagined that Robyn would never realize what I did. But perhaps. She always did. Dana regards her thoughtfully. Guilt has a way of catching up with people. The judge requests the next hearing date, instructing both parties to bring further evidence. The words only register faintly in Christine's mind. Her mind wanders to Robyn's face, that guilty look, that look of fear, that something unsaid look. As Christine makes her preparations to leave, she looks toward the witness stand, which is now vacant. Yet inside her head, she can still hear the dying whisper of Robyn in the air. I can't lie for him anymore. Christine releases a deep breath, the sound threatening to become a sob. It isn't triumph that she senses, it's fatigue, grief, and perhaps a glimmer of justice attempting to form. The storm outside is the reflection of one brewing in the courthouse. Rain hits the windows and thunder booms in the background, low. Steady, almost a growl from whatever it is that warns everyone inside they are on the verge of crossing some line. The courtroom lights flicker faintly, making long shadows dance on the gleaming floor. Christine remains seated, her demeanor peaceful but her fingers betraying her, tapping lightly on the wood of the table. She is anxious, but she is prepared. The witnesses up to this point have brought down walls, and what's to come may shatter what remains of the Brown family reputation for good. Kody sits opposite her, his face inscrutable. The air between them is heavy with tension, heavy enough to be sliced wide. Dana rises from her seat, with a bulky folder under her arm. Your Honor, she starts, these exhibits hold years of emails, internal family communications, and records of the intentional withholding of funds, emotional manipulation, and coercive behavior perpetuated against my client. Kody's attorney leaps up at once. Your Honor, ambush. None of this was included in our pre-trial disclosure. Dana faces him, her voice chilly and measured. It's not an ambush, Mr. Richard. It's the truth finally catching up with your client, the judge nods. Proceed. Christine sits back as Dana walks over to the huge screen in front of the room. The first evidence is shown, a 2018 email exchange between Kody and a family financial planner. The title line reads, Reallocation of Family Trust Assets. Dana points to the screen. Mr. Brown, this email is about transferring common money into a private company, one that did not include Christine and Janelle. Can you tell us why? Kody's jaw clenches. We were restructuring. That was for tax reasons. Then why, Dana says, advancing to the next slide, was the restructuring also to have Christine and Janelle's names taken off the family's property agreements? Kody pauses, glancing at his attorney. They weren't financially invested. Christine sits up straight, voice firm but tinged with fury. We lived on that property, Kody. Our children were raised there. The judge holds up a hand. Mrs. Brown, please let your attorney field questioning. Christine nods, but doesn't take her eyes off him. Dana goes on. So, Mr. Brown, you're saying this was business, not personal. But this email, she clicks over to another, has you instructing your advisor that Christine doesn't need to know everything, it keeps her compliant. Explain that phrase to me, the courtroom gasps. Reporters punch the air. Cameras zoom in. Kody leans back, attempting to compose himself. That was taken out of context. I was frustrated. It doesn't mean. Then tell us what it does mean, Dana interrupts. Kody doesn't respond. The silence stretches agonizingly long. Christine stares at him, her heart pounding. That one sentence feels like validation and heartbreak all at once. For years, she'd questioned whether she was imagining the control, and now, it's right there, in writing. Dana turns toward the judge. Your Honor, we'd like to call our next witness, Janelle Brown. A murmur runs through the courtroom. Janelle approaches the stand, her expression serene, her step steady. She's not furious, she's determined. She's sworn in, then sits, placing her hands together in front of her. Dana takes a step forward. Mrs. Janelle Brown. You co-lived with both Christine and Kody during the time frame in question, is that correct? Yes, Janelle answers quietly. For many years. And did you know about the financial reorganization discussed in these emails? Janelle sighs. No. I did not know until Christine was gone. Kody said it was too complex for me to get, that I should trust him. But I researched, and what I discovered made me ill. She hesitates, her voice shaking. He was transferring funds from our family account into one bearing only his and Robyn's name. Kody tightens his fists. That's not what occurred. Janelle stares straight at him. Yes, it is. You said yourself you were defending your legal wife's future. What about the rest of us, Kody? What about our futures? The room falls silent. Even the judge appears stuck for a moment. Kody attempts to interrupt, but Dana holds up her hand. Let her speak, Janelle goes on, her voice cracking. I was faithful for years. I stood up for you when people said you were selfish. I believed in the family. But what you did wasn't about love or faith, it was about control. You wanted obedience, not partnership. Tears well in Christine's eyes. Janelle looks at her, nodding very slightly. Richard stands to cross-examine, attempting to wrest back control. Mrs. Brown, isn't it true that you left the common household voluntarily prior to these transactions supposedly taking place? Janelle raises an eyebrow. Voluntarily? No. I left because there was nothing more to stay for. The courtroom buzzes again. Kody's face reddens. He mutters angrily to his lawyer, who takes notes and refuses to meet his eyes. The judge requests order again. Rain pounds at the windows outside, a furious drumming of fingers. Dana returns to the stand. Mrs. Brown, do you have any physical evidence to substantiate these allegations? Janelle nods, holding out a tiny folder. Bank statements. Copies I made before I left. She hands them to the clerk, who hands them to the judge. The judge leafs through them, scowling. These indicate large withdrawals shortly after the transfer of the trust. Mr. Brown, do you have anything to say? Kody swallows hard. Those were investments in the family business. I was saving for the future of the family, Dana pushes. The future, or your future? The silence from Kody is answer enough. Robyn shifts restlessly in the back row, her fingers wrapped tightly around her knees. She appears to wish to say something but is unable. Christine meets her eyes, a glance is exchanged. Something said without words. Something that suggests there's still more to learn. The judge folds up the folder. These papers will be scrutinized thoroughly. If discrepancies are substantiated, we could be dealing with charges of financial misconduct. Kody gasps in shock. His mask is shattering. For the first time, his arrogance appears strained. Christine leans back in her chair, relieved and drained. It isn't victory that she feels, it's the grinding, leaden pain of justice finally beginning to stir. Dana leans over and whispers, "We're not there yet. We have one more piece to bring." Dana stands again. "Your Honor, as a final exhibit for today, we'd like to present recorded communication between Mr. Brown and Mrs. Robyn Brown from early 2021, regarding Christine's decision to leave the family." Kody's eyes widen. "No. That's private." The judge raises a hand. "If it's relevant, it's admissible." Dana clicks play. The courtroom fills with Kody's voice, cold, sharp, unmistakable. "If Christine can leave, then let her. She is not taking anything with her. She needs to see that choices have consequences." The tape cuts off. You could hear a pin drop. Christine puts her hand over her mouth. Janelle sits rigid, facing forward. Even Robyn looks stunned, muttering to herself. Kody is white, his jaw clenching. "That was out of context," he says weakly. The judge nods once. "Maybe so. But context does not alter tone." Dana rests her papers. "No further questions, Your Honor." The gavel hits the bench. Court is adjourned until tomorrow morning. As everyone begins to stand, Christine's knees almost buckle. The emotional weight of the day feels crushing. She turns to Janelle, who gently takes her hand. "You're not alone anymore," she whispers. Christine nods, her eyes full. "Thank you." In the corner of the room, Kody slams his briefcase down. His attorney speaks in a hushed tone, but Kody ignores him. Instead, he glares across the courtroom, not at Christine, but Robyn. She drops her eyes, shame across her face. Sunlight seeps through the windows of the courthouse, muted by gray clouds which still linger low after the storm of last night. The atmosphere is thick, not with rain this time, but with anticipation. Reporters stand at the steps, cameras popping as Christine emerges from the black SUV. She is flanked by her lawyer, Dana, who carries papers in hand. The trial has dragged on for weeks, and today it all comes to an end. In there, the courtroom buzzes with muted suspense. The observers sense something major is about to go down. Even the judge appears more severe than usual, his face a stone statue. Kody is already seated, stiff in his chair, tie immaculately knotted, but eyes fidgety. He hasn't once looked at Christine since the sound recording. Christine's stomach knots as she lowers herself into a chair. It's odd, years of effort at being invisible, and today she feels noticed. Not as a wife, not in a plural marriage, but as a woman demanding answers. Dana bends toward her. "Today's the day," she says softly. "We hold firm. Don't let him rile you." Christine does a nod. "He's taken enough from me already. He's not taking my peace as well." The judge coughs. "We are reconvened for closing statements in Brown versus Brown. I expect respect and order from all participants." Dana stands up first, quiet but authoritative. She proceeds to the middle of the courtroom and allows the quiet to persist before she speaks. "Your Honor, vengeance has never been about this case. It's about power, how one man employed faith, family, and finances to wield power over others under the guise of love." Kody looks straight ahead, his jaw chewing. She goes on to say, "Christine Brown lost her youth, her vitality, and her faith to a man who pledged unity but delivered dominion. The evidence has revealed financial dishonesty, emotional manipulation, and coercion masquerading as spiritual guidance. My client isn't seeking revenge, she's seeking acknowledgement of what she went through and what she's due." Dana addresses Christine, her tone gentle. She stood by him through years of silence, bearing children, suffering humiliation, and concealing pain. But when she finally stood up for herself, he attempted to punish her for doing so. That's not love. That's control. She takes a moment to stare the judge directly in the eye. "Your Honor, justice isn't always about punishment. Sometimes, it's about acno. It's about acknowledgement, about saying out loud what's been hidden for too long. The courtroom is silent. You can sense the gravity of her words settling in. Dana goes back to her seat. Christine breathes unsteadily. Now it's Kody's turn. His lawyer, Richard, stands slowly. His voice is smooth, rehearsed. Your Honor, what we've witnessed here is not a case of manipulation or fraud. It's a family in conflict. It's years of emotions and misunderstandings turned into accusations. My client is not a villain, he is a man who tried to hold a complicated family together under extraordinary circumstances. He points at Christine. Mrs. Brown made her own decisions. She gained from the same collective resources she now refers to as stolen. There is no evidence of intent to deceive, only rage and remorse. Kody finally rises, breaking character. She's constructing herself as victimized, he says. But she walked. She abandoned us. All of this, he gestures toward the evidence table, is her rewriting history. The judge scowls. Mr. Brown, please do not make unauthorized comments, but Kody doesn't hesitate. You all think you understand our family because of what you have seen on television. But you don't understand what it is to have everyone rely on you. I sacrificed everything, to maintain this family. And she just threw it away because she needed attention. Christine slowly turns to face him. Her gaze unwavering. No, Kody. I wanted peace. The judge asks for a brief recess in order to examine the final evidence. The courtroom spills out into the hallway, filled with muttering and snapping cameras. Christine takes a deep breath by a window with a view of the city. The rain has passed, but puddles mirror the gray sky, a reflection of her weariness. Robyn edges up hesitantly. Her tone is husky. Christine. May I speak with you? Christine tenses. After all that's occurred, you think it's the right time now? Robyn nods, guilt written across her face. You have to hear something before it's too late. Christine looks at her. Then tell me. Robyn looks around cautiously before she talks. Kody got me to sign over half my property last year, told me it was to protect me from this lawsuit. But it wasn't. He wanted control of everything. He told me if you ever pursued him through the courts, I had to testify in his favor, or he'd see to it that I lost everything as well. Christine's eyes blink in shock. You're serious? Robyn nods, tears welling up. I thought I was defending our family, but I was defending him. You were right all along. He doesn't love, he owns. Christine breathes out, the air trembling in her lungs. Then tell the court. Robyn's eyes go wide. If I do, he'll never forgive me. Christine regards her softly. Then perhaps forgiveness is something you no longer require when court resumes. Robyn enters last. Her face is wan but resolute. Everyone observes as she sits down behind Kody. He turns, offering her a fleeting nod, once the signal of solidarity, now tinged with fear. The judge returns. We'll now hear any closing arguments before a verdict is given. To everyone's surprise, Robyn rises. Your Honor, may I speak? Kody's eyes are wide. Robyn, sit down. She shakes her head. No. Not this time. The judge waves her on. Robyn's hands shake slightly as she approaches the front. I was instructed to remain silent. To save my husband, my family, and our reputation. But what I experienced, what I endured, was not what he presented to the world. Kody didn't merely conceal money. He concealed the truth. There are gasps that ripple through the courtroom. She goes on, voice shaking. He said to me if Christine ever did leave, we would make an example out of her. He said no woman gets away from him and succeeds. I believed him because I feared him. But I can't do it anymore. I can't keep lying for him. Kody leaps up, yelling, that's a lie. The judge bangs the gavel. Order. Robyn turns and faces him. No, Kody, that's the truth. You taught us that loyalty was silence. But silence is killing us. Tears streaming down her face, she goes back to her seat. Christine remains frozen, unable to speak. The judge appears serious. Thank you, Mrs. Brown. That will be entered into the record. The courtroom crackles with energy, reporters racing around, whispers circulating. Kody's face goes stone. His attorney leans close, speaking in a hushed rush, but Kody doesn't register it. His world, the one he constructed from power and image, is crumbling right in front of him. The judge reads his notes, his gavel clicking gently. The court finds that the defendant, Mr. Kody Brown, has been guilty of financial abuse and coercive control in the joint family trust. Damages and restitution are ordered to be paid to Mrs. Christine Brown. Christine breathes out, her shoulders shuddering. The noise that escapes her isn't happiness, it's relief. Kody slumps in his chair, having no words. The cameras flash once more, catching the tumble of a man who had thought he was above the law. The judge continues. In addition, the court suggests review by the Attorney General for possible criminal investigation. Dana touches Christine's arm. You did it, Christine dabs at her eyes. We did. With one final rap of the gavel, the room erupts into motion. Janelle clutches Christine tightly, both women quietly weeping. Robyn stands close by, not sure if she's invited. Christine glances at her once, then nods and whispers softly, "Thank you." A little farther out, the rain has ceased to fall altogether. Sunlight peeks through clouds for the first time in days, coating courthouse steps with gold. Christine exits, taking deep breaths. The cameras encircle her, voices yelling questions. But for the first time, she doesn't have to justify, because justice didn't just speak. It thundered. She smiles weakly at Dana and Janelle. Let's go home. Descending the stairs, Kody stands in the doorway. Alone. Defeated. His kingdom of domination brought low by whispers and newspaper headlines. He growls softly, to himself, she'll regret this, but Christine does not look back. She's too far gone already. And for the first time in her life, she's free.